So are you ready to help our listener walk away feeling like they can handle, well, pretty much any tense situation?
Absolutely. I think we can definitely equip them with some valuable tools and insights. And we won't just be scratching the surface either. We're going to explore the why behind de-escalation, like what's happening in the brain when those fight or flight responses kick in.
Fascinating.
How do past experiences influence our reactions? And why is it so important to take a person-centered approach? We're going to cover it all.
Love it. Okay, so where should we begin?
Well, you included that CPI de-escalate techniques PDF. Remember the one with those top 10 de-escalation tips?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's a great starting point because these tips are like super practical, like a cheat sheet for everyday situations.
I love those practical takeaways.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. All right, so we've got respecting personal space. Makes sense. Using non-threatening body language. Ooh, this one's big. Being empathetic and non-judgmental.
That is a big one. It's easy to dismiss someone's feelings, when they seem irrational or out of proportion.
Totally.
But put yourself in their shoes for a second. Imagine if you were feeling really upset and someone just brushed off your emotions.
Oof, yeah, not good.
Right. So validating those feelings, even if you don't necessarily agree, it can be a huge de-escalator.
It's like saying, hey, I hear you. I see that you're upset.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you agree, but you're acknowledging their experience.
Exactly. And the guide also talks about ignoring challenging questions, which might seem counterintuitive at first.
It does. You'd think you'd want to address those head on.
You'd think so, but sometimes answering a challenging question just adds fuel to the fire. It can turn into a power struggle, and that just escalates things further.
So it's more about focusing on calming the situation down than winning the argument.
Exactly. You're redirecting their attention back to the issue at hand. Now, there's also focusing on feelings, not just the behavior, and setting limits, like choosing your battles and deciding what you absolutely have to insist on.
It seems like a lot of these tips are interconnected, like being aware of the other person's perspective, but also responding calmly, providing structure without being controlling.
Exactly. It's like setting boundaries, but also acknowledging that the person still has choices within those boundaries.
So it gives them back a sense of agency.
You got it. And the guide also mentions allowing silence for reflection and giving people time to make decisions. Like slowing things down can be really powerful.
Yeah, when you're upset, it's hard to think straight. Giving someone that space to process could make a big difference. Okay, so these tips are great for everyday stuff. But we also have the CPI Nonviolent Crisis Intervention Training PDF, which looks pretty intense.
It goes deeper. That training manual walks us through the crisis development model. Have you had a chance to look at it?
I have. It outlines the different stages of escalation, right? From anxiety to defensive behavior to risk behavior.
Yep, and it gives specific staff approaches to use at each level.
So it's kind of like a roadmap for those really intense situations, helping you stay calm, assess what's happening, and respond in the most effective way.
Exactly. Okay, let's start with anxiety. Now, we all experience anxiety in our day-to-day lives, so how is this different?
That's a good question. What sets it apart from just everyday jitters?
Good point. In this context, we're talking about behaviors that indicate someone's becoming distressed. Maybe they're fidgeting or shutting down, avoiding eye contact, or doing things that are really outside of their norm.
So it's about noticing those subtle shifts in their behavior. And how do we approach someone at this stage?
A supportive approach is key. Empathy, active listening, validating their feelings. A lot of times that's all it takes to prevent things from escalating further.
Hopefully, yeah. But what about when it does escalate? What's next?
Defensive behavior, that's the next level.
And that sounds a bit more serious.
It is. It's a sign that things are heating up. They might start shouting, arguing, refusing requests, basically pushing back.
Okay, so how do we respond when someone's in that defensive state?
A more directive approach is needed here. Clear instructions, simple choices. That can help them regain a sense of control. It's less about debating and more about offering options while setting those limits.
So, for example, instead of getting into an argument, you might say something like, you can do this now, or you can choose to do it later.
Exactly. You're acknowledging their feelings, but still setting those clear expectations. And then we have risk behavior. That's the most serious level.
That's when things get really intense, I imagine.
It is. This is when someone's distress leads to actions that could cause harm. Striking out, throwing objects, even self-harm.
So it's gone beyond words, potentially. What do we do in that situation?
At this level, we need to prioritize safety interventions, and the key here is to use the least restrictive intervention possible.
Right, so verbal de-escalation skills are still your go-to, but you're also prepared to take action to keep everyone safe.
Exactly. And the training emphasizes that physical intervention should only be used as a last resort.
Which makes sense. You want to de-escalate the situation without resorting to force, unless absolutely necessary. This model is really helpful for breaking down those different stages.
It is. And you know what I find really interesting? The training doesn't end with just managing the crisis.
Really?
What happens after things calm down?
Well, there's a phase called tension reduction, where you're helping the person regain their sense of calm.
So it's not just about stopping the crisis, it's about helping them recover from it.
Exactly. And then there's the therapeutic rapport phase. That's where the real healing begins.
So it's not just about getting back to normal.
No, it's about rebuilding trust, understanding what happened, and using that experience to learn and grow. I love that. It's about turning a difficult situation into a positive opportunity. Now, this whole idea of how your behavior impacts the other person and vice versa, this integrated experience, that's fascinating.
Isn't it? Even when things are chaotic, we have a responsibility to try and stay calm and in control.
Because our behavior, even if we don't realize it, is influencing the situation.
Exactly. And a key part of this is rational detachment. That's the ability to separate yourself emotionally from the other person's behavior, even if it's really challenging.
So it's not taking their anger or aggression personally.
Exactly. You're trying to see the person behind the behavior, recognize that there are underlying reasons for their actions.
Like maybe past trauma or unmet needs. And those are what they call precipitating factors, right? Those underlying causes.
Exactly. Knowing those factors, both for the person you're interacting with and for yourself.
Oh, that's interesting.
It really helps you stay empathetic and prevents things from getting worse.
Wow, this is a lot to unpack, but it's making a lot of sense. The more you understand yourself and the person you're interacting with, the better equipped you are to handle these tricky situations.
You got it. And remember, these techniques aren't just for professionals.
Oh, absolutely.
They're for anyone who wants to navigate conflict better.
Speaking of real-world applications, we have that YouTube video you sent. It really highlights the power of nonverbal communication.
Oh, yeah. I love that video. They did this